today. In this video, we're gonna share the tips which are very important for Sprechen. And we have Sulekha with us, and she's been teaching since more than 2.5 years now. And before starting up with this video, I request you to start up with an introduction, please.
Alright, my name is Sulekha. I have cleared my C1 level and I would be giving you tips for B1 level, which is not as difficult as
students think. And before starting with the tips, I wanted to add on a very important part, because when I take the Sprechen classes, the students are not able to speak and they get so nervous. They feel that I'm bol hi nahi payenge, but that's not a scenario. You would be able to speak, and this happens in the class with everyone. And when someone who is speaking fluently, they feel ki why they are speaking fluently, why not we? So it will take practice, and please make sure that you should speak with your friends or anyone at least for half an hour, minimum half an hour every day. That has to be the practice with lots of other topics. And whatever you wanted to speak, just make sure that you do the Schreiben on it. This is what I always ask with my students. Let's write down a Schreiben, then you'll come up with more words. Otherwise, we lack with the words and then we are not able to speak. Our imaginations are not being increased. So this is what I wanted to say before starting up this video. So let's start with the format, the first point, format, because I feel the format of the Sprechen should be you should know the format of the Sprechen, yeah? So can you please explain the format of the Sprechen?
Yes. So obviously, before appearing for your B1 Sprechen exam, you should know the format. And so you get 3 questions in total. Your Sprechen exam in total is of 15 minutes, and you get 15 minutes for preparation as well. In those 3 questions, the first question is the Gespräch, which is a conversations. So what happens is you always get a situation to plan on something. It could be anything. For example, one of your classmates have birthday in the next week and you have to plan a surprise party for them. Maybe you're planning a weekend with friends, a family outing, or one of your friends have met an accident and you want to go and take care of them. So situations like these.
Yes, correct.
And you get a random partner for this particular question. And yes, of course, the whole exam is carried out with your partner. In question number 2, you get a thema. You actually get 2 themes, out of which you have to choose one and prepare a presentation on it for 3 minutes. It could be for 2.5 minutes or maybe 3.5 minutes, but you have to make sure that you do not exceed the time limit.
And I wanted to add on very important part, because I've seen the feedback of the students for the second part where you have the partner with you. It might be the case that the partner is not speaking, and then you feel, okay, we spoke very well, but still we are not able to pass. You know why this happens? Because you don't allow your partner to speak. Please put up certain questions where your partner could also speak something, right? Just don't be very smart in front of the examiner and you are the only one who is speaking altogether. So the question should be in such a form that you asking the partner and you are allowing the partner also to speak altogether. So this will be a very important part. So let's come up to the second point, is about preparation for what would you like to say about the preparation?
Before preparation, I think it would be better if I tell you about the third tile as well, which is the question answer tile. So after the presentations, you will be asked 2 questions, one from your examiner and one from your partner. And the same thing you have to do as well. When your partner is done presenting, you have to put up a question from that presentation to your partner. This part contains 16 marks. And question number 1, that is your conversation, is of 28 marks. And then question number 2, which is of 40 marks. So then after 16 marks is for your pronunciation and intonation and other things. So if you total it, it would be 100 marks.
Yeah, okay, so let's come to the preparation. That's the second topic. So what would you like to add on the preparation part?
So preparation can be as easy as just having a conversation with your friends, maybe your family who are also learning German. But if you have really less time for your exam and you're hurrying up, I would suggest that you prepare on the topics first. there are some certain topics which are repeated every exam, year after year. So you have to do an exam focused study. You have to practice those topics first, and once you are done with those, then maybe you can shift to listening to podcasts and watching movies and other stuff.
Yes, correct. Very important that the topics which are there in the sample paper, please make sure that you focus those topics, because I have seen there was a student who was telling me, ma'am, this topic was already done in the class and it came all together, because there's no other topic apart from them. They're going to be correlated, but please make sure that all the sample papers which have been done, you can follow the 3 books for the sample paper. Can you just name those books, please?
So the first one would be Goethe Certifikat Neue B1, that is B1 level. Then the second one is So geht's noch besser, which has 10 sample papers. And then there is Prüfungstraining. There's another book, Fit Fuse, that you could use. And in total there are more than 35 sample papers, I guess. And if you solve those papers, if you are prepared for those topics, you are 100% capable of clearing your exam at least.
Yes, correct, because it's more than 35 sample papers.
Yes.
So let's come to the third part, which is grammar. So very important, and before you start explaining this grammar, I feel that still the students make a lot of problem in adjective ending, and they always say कि मैम वो सही नहीं हो पा रहा है. So I always feel that if you're in B1, just try, if you can, read the content of A2 especially again and again, and the and A1.2 means after your 6th chapter, because that will help you out a lot. I feel that personally. And what would you say about the grammar wala part?
So what students usually forget about the grammar part, when you are preparing for a particular topic and you've been given a limited amount of time, your only concern is to figure out a way to Aufgabe, if you figure out a way to complete the exercise that you've been given. They completely forget that they have to present their information, their knowledge of German. So you have to make sure that whatever you have learned in B1 grammar should be used. You should not forget about the adjective ending, the preposition, the 2-part connectors. We have double connectors, and we have relative pronoun, reflexive verbs, so many grammar topics that people usually do not use at all in exam. So which is, I think, the reason for less marks.
And please make sure you use, while speaking, the words which are of B1, you use the vocabulary of B1, you don't use the vocabulary of A1 and A2. So the synonyms and the vocabulary should be used on a very good level when you are B1. Let's come to the fourth important point, which is Rede-Mittel. I feel that you should know them, and just don't mug up, please, because the Rede-Mittels depends upon the situation. So what would you like to add on this?
So what happens is, students, when you have less time for exam, I think it's okay to use Rede-Mittels, and you can just they take up half of your wordings, half of your exam, half of your time is gone into Rede-Mittels, and the examiner cannot really see your potential, how much German you know. They're not able to judge, and obviously if they're not able to see your potential, they would give you less marks. So be natural as much as you can be. If you really practice enough, if you really know the words, you can speak German naturally. So words should be used like you would use usually in English or Hindi. So try to avoid Rede-Mittels. That is the last resort if you have really less time, I would say.
Yeah, and I would like to add on this. So sometimes it's a situation, right? If it's a situation and I wanted to use a phrase, then it's a good idea. But just to reduce the content, then you're using as a Rede-Mittel is not a good idea. For example, I wanted to say, okay, I'm making up a video. So it could be I am making up a video, but it could be a Rede-Mittel also. I wanted to shoot up a video. For an example.
Exactly.
Right? So it depends that what sort of Rede-Mittel you're using altogether.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
The fifth very important are the fillers. So this is also the problem which the student really make, the fillers, because you can tell what sort of fillers they generally use and what they should avoid.
Alright, so what people usually start using fillers like also, which is the most common one, also, doc, knock, and such fillers. But if you have enough vocabulary and if you know enough synonyms, you can avoid repetition anyway. First thing is you should know that repetition in Sprechen and Schreiben exam is not at all allowed.
Yes.
You should never repeat words.
Correct.
Yes. And just make sure that your vocabulary is strong enough, and if by chance your vocabulary is not strong enough, then you have the radimentals instead of fillers. Instead of just making sounds, just be comfortable with the silence. It's okay if you're silent for like 1 or 2 seconds or even 5 seconds. If you're thinking and then you're speaking slowly, that is much better than using fillers to fill the
Yeah,
voice.
and I've seen when the students speak, they make up a sound of don't do
Yes.
that, right? So, for an example, I wanted to say something. I'm saying, hello, hi, my name is this. Don't do that. Just give a pause. Hello, hi, my name is. Just be very slow. That's acceptable, but just don't make up that sound. And if you have that habit of making up a sound, that will be very difficult, especially for B2, C1, all the examination, because to if it's a habit, it's difficult to remove. Then it's difficult to remove. And I feel if you follow these tips, of course, before examination, all the students ask for those tips. Ki, ma'am, how are we going to clear up the paper? What all we should do to clear up the paper? So please follow these tips, and believe me, if you're doing so, you're going to clear the paper very easily. And if you have any question related to German language, you wanted to learn the German language, we would be very happy, because we generally do not teach in group. And if you wanted to go to Germany or for Ausbildung, we would be very happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching this video.